Beautiful ignited souls, we are ready for a new creation. Beautiful ignited souls, welcome on the Us Shape. This is where we cultivate the art of self love. When we speak of the art of self love, we are speaking about having enough love that replenishes you. You are not feeling depleted or dilapidated or anything like that. You are able to love implicitly without judgments and just feel replenished, and because this is one of the first commandments or first gifts, if you like, multiply, be fruitful, replenish, have dominion, subdue, and so on. There were five. So this is where, in these five gifts that we were first given, this is our quest on the earthship. When we speak of the earthship, our journey to the fifth dimension, and this is where we are exchanging information, chatting along as we go along, or exchanging information, and to just being there as companion to each other, of course, as we evolve. So, the cultivating the art of self-love is a terminology. You could say, well, from here, my journey, personal journey, but this is how spirit has been working through me. We have the crimson light, a bridge to actualizing self full love. It's the fullness of love that I am all about. When we speak of fullness of love, you know, where Christians often tell you, oh, your cup is running over, so your cup is running over, and you make sure that you have enough, like we are in the autumn or the fall, some people call it, and you have enough stored so you can give to your friends and your neighbors and whoever needs, but you still have sufficient for each season comes. You are not without love for yourself. Now, having love for yourself is essential. We are also, as we are talking here, we are also going to mention one of the things that permeates our homes, our societies. It's like, you could call it like the evil that has been the evil seed that has been sown in homes and families, communities, the world at large. And we are speaking about sexual assault. Now, one of the things I try to do is to always find the balance or the positive way of looking at an argument or situation, because the aim is to find healing, is to ride over that situation where you can be on the mountaintop and say, aha, oh, actually, I perhaps needed that scenario or experience to help me climb the top to the top of that mountain. And so this is what we are aiming to do. The top of the mountain is still like the fifth dimension. This is what we are talking about here on Crime Queen. So, your partner in crime. Okay, the crime is about self-love, as we have covered here. So self-love, of course, if you have been sexually assaulted, or because this is like very, very common, and not many of us do acknowledge how that actually has served as a standing block in our path. We don't realize the enormous hindrance that serves in our progression of spiritual growth, or even or physical or mental or whatever way, or personal development. We have not fully acknowledged, for many, the extent of how this prohibits our progress. And so this is why we are addressing issues of sexual assault, which is so common in our homes, communities, and the world. It is said perhaps at least one in every three people who have been sexually assaulted was assaulted before they were, I think it is every three out of four had been before they between the age of perhaps 3 and 4 and to 16. So if it's consensual, then that you have that legal aspect. I think that is 16. But of course we know that's not how it is. But okay, or it's not commonly practiced that way. Our world is just turned upside down in many ways. So we are speaking of sexual abuse, sexual trauma, molestation, whatever it is, incest that you may have gone through, you may have experienced, and I want to say to you that all is not lost. You are not lost. This is the time you are found, according to the scriptures. I was lost, but now I am found. You could actually say this is that because the universe has given us TRSHC, meaning the Revolutionary Spiritual Healing Code, which is the Bible code, which means it explains, it's a healing code that tells us that every word, every letter, every symbol, everything written in there is actually part of your makeup. You are the mobile Bible. Everything that is written in here, you are the word. When it is said in the beginning was the word, meaning you were there from the beginning. This word, you were there. This is what you were created with. All these codes that you even hear, maybe people are having a something here with a number, the code where they can now shop and everything like that. These activated because they have found something like themselves inside you, meaning that it can read, your body can read that, read like actually activate or ignite the codes that are within you. And I am seeing the number 15, so it would be interesting for me to check on that. The main reason for this presentation, before I move on, and I want to welcome, of course, all subscribers, new subscribers. I want to thank you for your support. I want to thank you for your comments, your likes, and everything. And please remember to like and subscribe and share those videos, because the information that is here, I feel it is very important, but you may not get it everywhere, well, not many places here on YouTube. So let's share as we are all on this journey, or those of us who are embarking on this journey, and may it be like an invitation to help others hop on board as well. So we are going to do this presentation based on the word conscious. Now, why am I going to address the word conscious? It's simply because of the case that has been happening on social media or on YouTube or on Instagram. You will get a lot about a certain brother polite, which I at this stage will really say impolite, and I just leave it as impolite, because that is by going about this is based on certain interviews that I saw him did with a young man who had been sexually molested by Impolite's spiritual teacher, Dr. York, or York, or it's interesting how people have their titles. Okay, and so going by that interview, I feel that I can qualify him as being impolite, and because I don't feel he was being very sympathetic or understanding of this young man who had been sexually molested for over 7 years from Impolite's teacher, by Impolite's teacher, and his sisters, two of his sisters, this guy, young man, his sisters were molested as well. So that's going enough into that story. So what is happening now, of course, he's allegedly accused of molesting or sexually being inappropriate with a 14-year-old. Remember, people, that I have been speaking about the number 14. You will see a lot of number 14. Pay attention to what 14 is saying. 14 encapsulates the whole of the 14 gods, the 14 gods of Genesis. which consists of two creations. Now, isn't it ironic as well that this 14-year-old, in like 14, of course, we are talking about a female and a hair in this sense, and that the in the conscious community, the female is seen as God. The female or the black woman is God. This is how they are perceived. However, it seemed like God has like the scriptures say, God works in mysterious ways. And so this is what is happening now. We see like this real awakening is happening now. So as distasteful as that those news are, or those stories are, I will speak of this consciousness in the conscious community, is that I am hoping a lot of positivity is going to come out of this, because it's like having a lot of like the worms are going to come out, put it this way. A can of worms is already being opened, and so we are going to have to deal with the ugliness of it, but knowing that it could also be a deterrent for other people, and of course give us a purpose, or having those of us who have to deal with the cleansing of it, or having to restrain, having to control, having to do the healing, and so on. So this is going to happen, and that is something to celebrate. Yes, it is very sad that a 14-year-old should be enduring all of what is happening now. This, I hope that they find the strength, tenacity, and courage to see themselves through, both the young person and her family and all those around. And that means it's like a representation, or she's like the pillar, you could say, because I feel this is happening with a lot of young people, but just that some people have kept very quiet, or whoever they are, rather. So, why I want to speak of the conscious community is that I remember, of course, I started watching the conscious community. I stopped because I actually heard a young man said, one of the students at the time, who was very enthusiastic, trying to find out ways that the conscious community could develop ways, or learn how to be prosperous, because there was a calling, or an observation that we needed to have direction for the young people, and set goals, and see how we can create businesses, homes, and enterprises, and so on, and especially to be rich, if you like. There was also mention that in the music industry, for instance, which is where a lot of people make their big monies, or big bucks, whatever you want to call it. But however, there was mention that a lot of these people have to turn to do acts of indecent sexual, or sexual acts, maybe having or being forced to have sexual relationship with the same sex, which and so on, and that meant that they in turn, after a while, cannot come to dealing with what they've done. So a lot of them is allegedly said to have committed suicide, or get transited, or dismissed, or whatever it is. But when the question was put to this to a particular young man that I watched, and I know I wrote his name somewhere, because I actually knew that this would come back. I actually felt that such a case would come back to haunt them, if you like, is that when he said, well, the question was put, well, what should we do then? How? And his answer, it's like I could still see him turn his back, and he says, well, we'll just have to do what they do. If it means having intercourse with the same sex, whatever it is, we'll do that. If whatever it is that it's meant they do, we'll do the same. that's what it takes to do, then that's what we have to do. So that they were more or less trivializing a lot of the things that they were actually condemning before, because then that seemed to have been the way of achieving the goals that they wanted to, especially with this particular young man. I can still see him, and I'm actually trying to find where I wrote his name. But if it means that I will know who and find a video or whatever it is, it will show up. Okay, although now a lot of them may be taking their videos down. So, um, the reason why I really want to speak of the conscious community is that I feel that I even had to check the meaning of the word conscious, and I okay, let's see if I get an example here, because they actually got me thinking perhaps I got it wrong. And so when someone actually makes you think, there is a term used for it, have I got this wrong? Have I missed something? What does it mean to be conscious? I mean, all along, I think I know what it means to be conscious, but now I am actually questioning myself what it means to be conscious, because since I have been well, following, I should say, when I say following, like monitoring what's been happening with this impolite person, is that I find that I am being challenged with the language that is used in the to express what is supposed to be a sacred teaching, and I am baffled. The teachings that are being discussed or argued is supposed to be a teaching that elevates, that empowers, that stimulates, that revives, that reminds, that inspires, and all of those things. They are meant to do that, but however, through that teaching, every sentence would be a MF word, BITCH, NIG, whatever, and so on. So I'm like, what's going on? So let me just read my just one example here, for instance. So it's an adjective. And here we have, I'll take the second one here. Having knowledge of something, meaning we are conscious of the extent of the problem. That's an example. We are conscious of the extent of the problem, which is what the conscious community is about. Being conscious about the extent of a problem. That means there has been supposedly a quest to have some sort of resolution, which is why one, like I said, the young man said, well, we'll have to do everything they do so we can now resolve the question of poverty, the question of lack, or the question of deprivation, whatever it is that is perceived in our society as a people. So, but as a people who, especially where males are talking about the black woman is God, how do you define this or qualify this if every two words that you utter is the MF word? How do you qualify this? This is a rhetorical question, because I don't think anyone can actually explain this in a way that I can find this accepting as a female, and even if you were a male as well, because then there's the it just does not, it makes me wonder from the standpoint of sexual abuse as well. Could it be that we are uttering those words, the MF word, for instance, particularly that you utter it so much into your society, into your people, that it is permeating the very behavior that we are trying to heal ourselves of? Could it be a contributor to incest, to molestation, to rape, to all of those things in our communities, to sexual assault, trauma? Could it be that when we use those bitch words, we think, even if it doesn't fall into a certain context, or we thought it doesn't mean, or we don't mean it that way, it's just an expression, but could it mean that every time we use those words, that they fall on the ears, and our ears fall into the heart? Because in the word heart, in the middle of the heart, we are going to do this, which again falls in line with what I have been talking about on my last video as spiritual pimp. It is like people are sucking your attention. They are pimping your energy, your spiritual energy, and you, with the F word, with the MF, with the BITCH, with all those derogatory terms, which we have learned. So let's, before I go on, this is the word heart, HEART. When you hear of those terminologies, people, when you hear of this and it falls into your heart, the heart of everything is central. This is where the central, this is all the circuit, the circuit energy, if you like, of who you are right here in the body, in that system. There's the heart. And so when each time you say the BI word, or you say the NI word, or the MIF word, and all of those things, we have seen scientists has been able to give us enough explanation to know how these derogatory words, they form ugly, what we call ugly shapes on water, when the water is by the experiments of the doctor, I think he was a doctor, emoji. So when we have experiments like that, to say you pray over water, or you do something over water, you speak lovely words over water, and all of, because water is life. We are told we are 80% water, which coincides with 8 layers of codes. These codes that you are, which you are, every word, every punctuation mark of the Bible. You are the Bible, mobile Bible. When we say you are the Word, in the beginning was the Word. That's you. You were there from the beginning. We have just been going through all these cloaks, if you like, but this is what we are. Now, you will not get any other person telling it to you the way I am telling it to you, but this is why we are the universe. It is you and I. That's what uni is. And we are verse. We are verse, which is like the 14 gods of verbs. Universe, univerbs. That's what we are here. Okay, so we won't go too much into this aspect of this here, but we want to touch on words. You are the word. So the conscious community keeps using words that they keep using those words that just actually they hurt the air. They don't. And I try to actually get the substance, which I'm able to do sometimes, get the substance of what the message is, without paying much consideration for the derogatory words. But it gives me work. I have to do a filtering. If your role is to empower, raise consciousness, why not give it in the most simplistic and purest way that you can? Because even in that as well has already, you could say, the negative aspect of each person have to address a situation, because nothing is at its purest in this realm. When we say the purest, is that it still has negative and positive. Okay, so what I am saying here, people, if if you are watching this and you are from the conscious community, share of this knowledge or this insight, so people can awake to something that gives more life, that gives more inspiration, that gives more truth, that gives more, we could say. And this is where we see, of course, this is what is happening in the conscious community most now. It's very heated, heat. That's the heat. It's very heated in the conscious community right now. But the heat does not have to be extreme, in the sense of all these arguments that is going on right now. How about we rest on the artistic aspect of it as art? And let us find the level of creativity that it offers, so we can now see and become the best version of who we truly are. We can be the expression of life we are meant to be. How about we do that? How be more artistic? How about we have more respect for he, as we say, as in vibration, which is number 13, the death number, but the he that dies, because now we are in a he stage. When we say that it's a death that is happening now, a death of incest, of that, we have there's the dying, you could say, and there's the awakening, there's the wailing. It's like someone dies, someone died. And this someone who died now, we are talking about this 14-year old, this 14-year of age girl. And of course, this is like DEATH. This is number 20. I think so. This is 10. Yeah, this is 20. So, and the word dead, DEAD, this is 8, 12, 13, 14. That's the 14 one. So this is something like dead in the past tense. And this young lady is representing, this 14-year young lady is representing that thing that was dead, meaning it was incubated and it was going through a process, but it's being risen now. This is like Christ, the 14th person at the table with his 12 disciples, and he died and he's risen. He then, when he died, then he became dead. That is a process to be risen.